Absolutely. What we've done here is you'll see that this is a very new car for Lotus. It's fully up to date, but it still keeps those core elements that we love, is the dynamics, the aerodynamics, and the lightweight as well. So even with everything that we've added to the car, we've still kept it to a reasonable weight, and you just feel that when you're driving the car. But I mean, somebody is a bit more qualified to talk about how it drives probably would be Mr. Button, who's been in the car as well.
Well, we'll talk about that in a second, but I mean, just so you know, this car weighs 1,400 kilos. Just bear that in mind when you're looking at some of the other cars around the paddock, because 1,400 kilos is very light. Jenson, driving dynamics, you've obviously spent some time in the car. What sort of floats your boat about it?
Well, first of all, good afternoon, everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here, actually, with the Emira, because we launched the car last week, Tuesday, and I got to drive it for the first time on a very, very wet Hethel track. And I was amazed by the grip that the thing has mechanically, which you kind of expect from a Lotus. The mechanical grip from the chassis is pretty extreme. But as you can see with this car, it's very curvaceous. There's lots of lines that go in and out of the body, weaving its way through the body. And these all have purpose. It gives the car downforce, so it's not just the low-speed corners that this Lotus is good in, it's the high-speed corners as well, so it works across every speed range, which is mega. And the other thing that really stood out was, this is a good word, is how plush it is inside.
You're getting old. You're getting old, mate.
It's plush. It's so true. That's the first word I used when I talked about the interior. It's plush. And I would say this is the area that's changed the most, probably, from previous models. The leather's inside, the seats are proper comfortable. You know, you could drive it for a couple of 100 miles and be proper comfortable and feel good when you get out of the car, but you wouldn't want to get out. You know, you've got the gear stick, which is raised a lot higher than in other models, and it's sort of, they say a thumb and little finger width away from the steering wheel is what you want for a good gear position, and it is exactly that. So it's a lot closer to the steering wheel. You don't have to look down for it, it's just there waiting for you to jump on it and for you to rev this thing, because the sound is amazing.
I mean, there are two engines. There's the 3.5 litre supercharged V6 that was in the Exige, and then there's the 2 litre AMG turbocharged engine. But obviously this is the V6 flagship model, which I assume is the one you've gone for.
Well, I actually drove both the mules, one with the 3.5 litre V6 and one with the 4-pot AMG motor. And they're both great, and they both have their place. Yeah. But I love a DCT because it's just smooth. I would always go for the manual.
I was going to say, could you remember how to drive a manual?
I could, because I've got an Evora in LA, so yeah. But
I've got an Evora in LA, everybody. Good line of the day, that. Good line of the day.
But I could have said Froome.
Yeah,
Oh, it's Froome in the house. But no, it was a lot of fun on the track, and to be fair, what amazed me most was the grip. Yeah, massive amount of grip, and I just love it when you're heeling towing, the blip from the engine as well. It's it's really good. I don't know if you've heard it go up the hill, but it's noisy.
Yes,
it's not a big car, but the noise that comes out of this exhaust is fantastic.
Perfect, actually, for the car. And being a slightly smaller car, it's actually more manageable. It's chuckable, it's usable. You know, you've got that, hopefully, that legendary steering feel through the car, and I bet it's a pleasure to drive.
It is. It feels like you're connected. I know you are, but it feels like you're connected to the wheels. A lot of cars these days, even supercars and hypercars, it feels like there's something between the steering wheel and the front wheels, just making it a bit soft and a bit spongy. You lose that connection, that rawness, but this definitely still has that, which is great. They've really worked on keeping that pure feeling of the Lotus. So yeah, works really well, and I've really enjoyed driving it so far.
And this is, I believe, going to sit next to an Emira as well?
Yes, I have an Evira. We've already chosen the colours for that. They're quite famous colours for me.
Oh, okay.
Which will be white, fluorescent yellow and black.
Excellent.
On the Evira, and the Emira, I'm not going to tell you my colour choice yet, so I don't want everyone having the same colour as me.
Well, let's talk to Russ and say, what colour do you think looks best in this car?
I'm not just an F1 driver, but a racing driver, and I love racing everything, so I've tried lots of different things. I've decided I'm not as good as off-roading as I thought I was. but I've given it a go. That's the main thing.
They're not easy cars.
I'm trying.
They're not easy cars.
I'm still learning, and that was the thing after F1. I want to do something where I'm still learning.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what's the point? So I've enjoyed a race in Japan for a couple of years, and then I did one race in the British GT, which it wasn't the most fun weekend for many different reasons I can't mention. But apart from that, no, I'm missing driving.
Yeah.
So
what is it you miss? Is it the competitive element? Because with that comes all the stress, and that's the bit you don't really like. Or is it just the sheer pleasure of driving?
It's a bit of both. Now I'm going to be working with these guys a bit closer. I'm really excited. I've obviously got my company in California called Radford Motors, and we're working closely with Lotus on our first car, which will be launched in 7 weeks. So that's really exciting. We're very lucky that we have Lotus on board. We have been working with the XE chassis, developing it in different ways that work for us in our car, and then building our carbon fibre body on top. So really, really exciting. Something I can really sink my teeth into, and I'm doing all the test driving for that car as well. But you might see me racing in something in the near future, and I'm really excited about what could be coming over the next few years.
And young family as well. How much time are you spending here, there?
This is the first long trip I've had away from both my kids, so I'm away for 2 weeks, and it's definitely weird. And their mum is away as well. She's here 4 days. She's here for it's the first time she's been away from the kids, so it's a bit weird for her, but I think she's kind of enjoying it, to be fair. Loving the weekend. She's not into cars as much as I am, but she likes the glasses of red wine in the evening. So it's lovely to have her here, and having a family is just another world. Yeah. I've been so selfish my whole career, and you have to be as a racing driver, but suddenly you're the least most important person in the family, even after the dogs. But I love it.
You have to just keep winning the bread money. That's all it is. Just keep getting the bread money.
That's why I'm keeping busy.
I can't let you go without talking about current state of Formula One, obviously. When you hear a V8 F1 car sort of launch off the line here, does it just make the tingle?
It makes me wish that they were V8s still.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it does. But I mean, technologies move on, and it is what it is. But the important thing is that the racing is good right now.
Yeah.
I thought this year was going to be a bit of a bridging year from 2020 to 2022 when we get the new regulations, but it's actually been a fantastic year.
Well, I think what this year shows is that all the crowd ever want is good racing. The battle between Lewis and Max has just invigorated everyone's interest. It's what we ever wanted. We wanted Mercedes to be challenged, ironically, in the last year of Honda. I mean, that's unreal, isn't it? But that's what people want. We wanted to see good racing, and we're getting it this year.
Yeah, you are. And the two best drivers that have probably ever driven F1 cars. They're extraordinary individuals. The teams are fantastic, but then behind that as well, you've got so much talent. I mean, Lando Norris doing a fantastic job at McLaren, up against Daniel Ricciardo. I call him Ricky Bobby. And George at Williams, and the Brits. All three British drivers in F1 are fantastic right now, and will go on to achieve so much. So true Brits, fantastic.
Thank you. Listen, I know you've all got busy schedules, but thank you so much for coming. Congratulations on the Lotus Emira. We wish you all the success with it. It's really been captured the hearts of everyone here at Goodwood Festival Speed. So, ladies and gents, a big round of applause, please. Thank you.